Welcome, everyone. My name's Frank Klesitz with Vyral Marketing. I'm here with Joe Herrera in Las Vegas. And you're on this webinar because you want to know what Joe's doing to step up his marketing game after, as we head kind of after the summer of getting some easy deals because of the summer, but as we go into a very different real estate market than what it was in the previous year. So Joe's going to share over the next 30 minutes everything he's doing to kind of retool, retweak the marketing plan to make sure that the commission dollars and the volume keep coming into the real estate team so everyone continues to make money, which is what you have to do when the market shifts. So, Joe, for anyone who doesn't know you, would you
Yep.
be so kind as to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah. So Joe Herrera, based out of Vegas here. We've owned two different brokerages. We were Remax guys. What's interesting because Remax settled their stuff yesterday. I'm sure you saw that, Frank.
Yeah.
We were Remax guys for the first 10 years of our career. We ended up moving into a world where we owned a brokerage. So we owned Simply Vegas Real Estate for a couple of years, sold it, and then opened Love Local Real Estate and transitioned that over to Real Broker 2 years ago. So we run a team. We've got, I think without question, the largest social media following of any real estate team in Las Vegas. We've got 22,000-ish followers on Facebook, none of them paid for, like all organic growth. And then we have, last I checked, maybe 10,000, 15,000 followers on Instagram. Our team historically has done about 1,000 units a year. Our team size has probably shrunk a little bit over the last year or so. I think we're on pace to do 700 units this year in a challenging market. So marketing guy by nature, it's kind of my thing. I enjoy the creation of the business more than I enjoy the facilitation of the business. Have a partner, Taylor Prince. He's busier on the investment side of things. So we pretty much run a 4-quadrant business: network, retail, a lot of investment side, and then we do some joint venture stuff as well.
You got a good business for yourself doing that kind of bomb in Vegas.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, before we talk about your new plan, tell me what you've been
Mm-hmm.
doing that's been working so far.
So blunt force trauma, Facebook marketing. That's been our bread and butter for 10 years. We've generated 120,000 leads over the last 10 years using Facebook. And it's not intelligent at all. Like, it's very, very dummy down, same type of ad every
You
day.
did all of that, most of that business off Facebook ads?
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah,
I've
yeah,
never
yeah.
heard that. I have some questions.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it.
Is it organic or
So
paid?
paid, all paid.
What's
Yeah.
the ad?
It's just houses for sale. Like, if you go the clickability of content, right? Like, the number one clicked upon image on the internet is attractive people. You could argue specifically attractive women, right? Models. Um, the number two clicked upon image on the internet is all house related. So, like, really nice kitchens, really nice backyards, really nice master or primary bedrooms. And then number three is food. So all I've done is used because I don't have number one going for me, I've got to use number two, right? Which is attractive houses. And so that's been the bread and butter of
What's
our
the
business for
page you run it under? I'm curious.
Joe Taylor Group.
Joe Taylor Group. So I'm going to pull them up actually.
Yep.
And then I'm guessing the call to action is find out the price of the house. How do you capture the
Yeah.
information?
Price and location. Yep. Yep.
Oh, so you
A
don't give
lot
them
of
the
people,
location.
yeah. I mean, people know that it's in Las Vegas, but they don't know where. We just learned a long time ago that people will disqualify themselves for properties based on price and location when the price and location may actually end up working for them. And so you really handicap your results if you discuss price and location. For example, if we put a property up and said, "Hey, like, check out this amazing home listed for $750,000," somebody may top out their budget at 650, when in reality we could probably bridge the gap to 675 in a tough market. Maybe a seller's willing to make a deal, maybe they're overlisted, whatever. So if somebody sees 750, they're going to go like, "Oh, I can't afford it," when in reality they can. And so we
So,
just believe.
yeah, no, that's great. So you're running these under the Joe Taylor Group page,
Right.
and it's just your own listings
OPP a lot, right? Like,
or
so if
anyone that you have permission to do it with.
anyone that we have permission to do it with.
Yeah.
Yeah. New homes we use.
Find out the price. Now, do you use the Facebook lead capture or do you drive them to a landing page that captured lead?
No, we use primarily Messenger and or
Interesting.
I'm not a big forced registration guy. Like, I think if you force somebody into a corner where they have to register, that's where you get the like big bird at go F yourself at sesamestreet.com, right? Like that's why so much forced registration stuff fails, is because people will just put in fake content. So we just very much believe in engaging in a conversation. So
So
we
you
drive a
like to
lot of
drive them to
people.
Messenger to talk about the property.
Yeah, and then we'll just basically say, hey, let's get an agent involved. They can send you all the details on the property, what's a good contact information, and then we put them into our CRM, and then the agent takes it from there. So it's just all the continuation of a conversation.
It is blunt force, simple trauma.
Blunt force trauma.
What's the audience? Just everybody in Vegas, 15 miles.
Everybody in Vegas. So the other mistake everybody makes with social is they say, hey, I want to run an ad to reach women who do yoga whose husbands make over $250,000
Oh,
a
you
year.
can't even do that
And I'll
anymore.
just tell them, like, bro, I'm not your person. Like, I'm not your guy to do that, right? And so we let people weed themselves out. I think if you take the buffet mentality, like, everybody puts more food on the plate than what they can eat, but nobody's crazy enough to bring back 13 plates, right? So if somebody just knows, like, hey, I'm unemployed, or I make $20,000 a year and I'm on food stamps, how much is this home that obviously is, somewhere in 700 or a million? I just let people weed themselves out. And so I've just never been a big believer in audience segmentation on social.
Last question, because I'm curious on this.
Yep.
Um, okay, so I get the ad, I get the audience, just let it rip throughout Las Vegas, hitting everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably see the ads by going to the Facebook ad library under your page.
Sure.
Um, okay, so how much do you spend, and what's generally your cost per lead or your cost per sale for some numbers for someone to guide on?
So what we end up spending is largely dependent upon the number of mouths we need to feed. So I'm a big believer, if like if you think about it this way, your monthly opportunity will equal your annual production if you put in the work to work your database correctly. So if somebody gets 20 opportunities a month and they're a full-time, fully engaged real estate agent, I believe they can create 20 transactions a year. So we reverse engineer it based on mouths to feed. So if we have, let's say, 10 agents and we need to provide 20 opportunities per month to each agent, we need to create 200 opportunities. Our cost per lead, now keep in mind, these convert at the same clip as like a Zillow lead. Everybody thinks Zillow leads convert at 50%. The reality is they convert at like 3.7 is Zillow's actual published conversion rate. So for us, we just reverse engineer it down to say, if it costs us $10 per lead and we need to create 200, we've got to spend $2,000 per month creating these leads in order to create the 200, in order to give us at a low side, a 3% conversion rate. So 200 leads will turn into 6 transactions over the course of a year. And so our 6 transactions on a 50-50 split, I'm super geeking out on you, but 6 transactions, 50-50 split, call it $10,000 gross commission. We'll create, for 6 transactions, we'll create $60,000 in GCI, 30 of which will flow back to us. Now we have a 15x ROI on our $2,000 spend.
Joe, you know a lot about Facebook ads.
I'm like an idiot savant when it comes to Facebook ads.
Call Oracle Data Cloud or call Axiom and ask them to load in high intent home buyers in Vegas.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll load that audience in, and as opposed to just letting Facebook run it, you can actually bring in third party data at like a high level on Facebook.
Right, right.
Mhm. Cool. All right. So your business has been a lot of buyers, or the sellers you
Traditionally,
find
yeah.
in the buyer leads.
Yeah, we found about 60% of our buyer inquiries also have a home they need to sell. We skew a little bit higher on our advertising mechanism. So I just don't have a lot of interest in credit repair or
No
I
down
call it
payment.
dumpster diving. Yeah, like I don't really need down payment assistance or credit repair leads. They're really easy to create, but they're really hard to close. What we look for, our avatar, is the move up buyer. So that's really our
So
goal.
you had to choose. You're running nicer homes. What price point?
So we typically go somewhere about 20% above market average. So in Vegas, if we say the market average is 500,000, we're really going to run 600 to a million. So we really want to capture that move up buyer.
Read the ad. And last question on Facebook, then we'll move on. Read to
Yeah.
me the ad copy. Tell me the ad. Read it to me.
So let's say in Las Vegas, the milkshake that brings all the boys to the yard is a one-story home, one-story home on a half acre with RV parking and a pool and a spa. So the ad copy would say something along the lines of like amazing opportunity, purchase this home with a, and qualify for a 5% interest rate. Like right now we use interest rates as a big trigger because everybody's obsessed with them. So what we do on a daily basis is we figure out whatever the buy down ability rate is. So if rates are trending at 7.6 and with 3% buy down or 3-point buy down can get them to 5.4, we'll say amazing opportunity to purchase this home at a 5.4% interest rate with a little asterisk. And then we'll say, for price, location, additional information, click here. And then we'll say this amazing property features 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, half acre lot, no homeowner association, RV parking, everything you could want and more. And then down at the bottom, we would have the asterisk that says based on, loan qualification and parameters or whatever. So we give ourselves the defendability, and then it's all image driven. Like, again, what we're looking for is the stay at home parent in line to pick their kid up for school, scrolling through Facebook, seeing a home, which stops them, and then just going like, hey, how much and where is it? And then all of a sudden the messenger thing kicks off and we're off to the races.
And you're just using Facebook's native messenger?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Well, there you go. So I guess there's the answer.
Trauma.
How are you getting your business before? That's the main way. And by the way, just for everyone to know, you do sell this to agents. Go ahead and
100%.
share that really quick.
Yep. Yeah. So we had been doing it for people. We are now moving into an education product. So when we were doing it for people, the cost per lead was $50 a piece. You can generate them yourself for $10 to $15. We're going to do like a full-on Uncle Sam Declaration of Independence, like get out of the thumb of Zillow and Homes.com and all those guys and just do it yourself. You could do it yourself for 10 to 15 bucks. We are building an interest list. If anybody's interested, they could just hit us a DM me on Instagram or whatever. We're going to start running probably 20 people a month through an education program nationwide to just say, hey, do this yourself. We're going to limit it to about 20 people per month, but we're going to, over the next year, we'll educate a couple hundred people on how to do this.
I have a depth of understanding what you said there, because the management cost of having to pay someone to manage it dramatically drives up the cost per lead. When you strip out the management costs, you do it yourself, you get your lead cost down and you can spend more on the ad spend, which actually shows it. So kudos to you. That's a very aligned strategy where you can teach someone how to do it themselves. Facebook actually makes it pretty easy to take your money.
They do. It's all the nuances, though. It's all the nuances, the stuff people don't think about. So now you're in Ohio, Frank, or where are you at? Arizona?
I'm in Tennessee now.
Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah.
So in Las Vegas, there's little words that people use that they think adds value to a property. But the interesting thing is when you, and I want to move on to our new stuff, because that's what I'm really excited about. But think about it this way. In Las Vegas, if I list a property and I'm like, Frank, this property has a strip view, you're going to think like, wow, that's an additional feature, right? Like that's amazing. It's like saying ocean view when you get a hotel room. But what real estate agents fail to recognize is when you say something like ocean view or strip view or golf course frontage, you think it adds value. The consumer thinks it adds cost. And so now people will start disqualifying themselves and will stop from inquiring on it because they'll go, there's no way I can afford a house with a strip view, or there's no way I could afford a house on a golf course.
That's interesting. There's no way I could because you're withholding the price and even the location on the ad.
Yeah, and so we don't say golf course frontage. We don't say amazing strip view. We don't say ocean view. We don't say Smoky Mountain view. Like, because people may think like, well, if it has that view, it must be too expensive because every home I've ever seen with that is 1.5 million. So long story short, and then we'll move on. You're not actually selling the home. You're selling the hope. Like people have to hope they can afford it. And if they don't hope they can afford it, they're never going to contact you. Because the other thing is, people know they can just go to Zillow and search for homes for sale. So then why would they contact Frank? Because Frank's a wizard. Like Frank's a magician. Frank has a deal that nobody else has. And if you remove that hope, you're no longer the Wizard of Oz and you're no longer the person they're going to contact. And then they'll just go to Zillow.
Joe, I could do a whole, I like you. I could do a whole day on just the psychology of ad copy.
Yeah,
You
100%.
got it down, man.
I've just been doing it for 10 years. And like,
Yeah.
so it's trial and error. It's that 14,000 hours or whatever it is. It's like, once you put in the time, it becomes second nature, where I'm sure for you, people show you stuff and you go, yeah, that's not going to work. And they're like, why? And you're like, just trust me. I've done this enough. I'm telling you, it's not going to work. And I do that all the time on ad copy, on social stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's never going to work. And people get pissed at me, but it is what it is.
Well, let's move on now to what you're going to add to that
Yeah.
to do more deals. And you need to have a we talked about in the webinar promo is two things you're going to add. One is a really quality database nurture campaign, which we'll
Right.
get to here in a minute. But not only are you, but and also a cold system of bringing in sellers. You have to go after sellers at a scaled way, just like you mastered the craft of buyer leads that might have some
Right.
sellers hidden on Facebook.
Sure.
We now need to add a seller lead generation pipeline of homeowners, and we have to work the database. So let's talk about a seller lead generation pipeline. Now, we talked about this in Vegas, that if you want someone to call you to sell their home, you need to get a list of homeowners that are likely to sell, first name, last name, property address, mailing address. Then you have
Right.
to get a message in front of them through some type of media, call, email, phone, text, flyer, billboard, radio, with some type of reason to respond about selling. Typically, I have a buyer for your home. Would you like a cash offer? Um, find out what your home is worth. Come to my seller workshop. You like that strategy, is that right?
So I've got a sister-in-law. She's a complete doomsday prepper. And I have a point with this. So like she's obsessed with like an EMP goes off from Russia and we're all back to the Stone Age. She's not watching this, so I could say it. She's not even happy right now. So I'm like, why are you preparing for this like apocalyptic world? Like, I just hope I die in the blast, right? I don't want to live through this. So the reason I bring that up is because what you and I are talking about is going back old school, right? Like there has to be a world that when the world gets really complicated, simplicity wins. Like when the world gets really new age and people are just lost, what happens if you just go very basic, very old school?
Yeah.
How would people then respond to, like you said, a letter that says, we have a buyer for your property? When there's, a million different voices out there, what happens when somebody like opens a page and reads some copy that's very attractive? And I think that's what we're talking about here is everyone's trying to do, AI and chat GPT. What happens if you just go like, I'm actually going to go backward instead of
You,
forward? And I
you know
think
what
there's
that
so much
is
power in it.
Occam's razor in the simplest terms. It's that philosophy of the simplest solution. When you ever heard of Occam's razor?
No, I
Here,
need to look it
yeah,
up.
well, you actually described the concept. Here it is,
Okay.
Occam's razor. So when things are very, very, very complicated, and you're getting inundated with AI and Chat GPT and the Facebook algorithms, what's like the simplest, absolute possible way to get a seller lead, which is what we're talking about.
I'm going to put that on my list of
Yeah,
reels I need to make.
yeah, Occam's razor. You can study it. It's a mental model of making decisions.
Yeah,
So going back to
I
that,
love it.
I asked you, like, Joe, which area, town, which zip codes are people selling their houses where there's a good
Right.
turnover rate, right? Do you know what those are in Vegas?
Yeah, I mean, you look at 89117, 89131, 89145.
Here,
Like Summerlin, Northwest.
let's pull them up for the
Yep.
audience. Here. So there's different services you can use to do this. We're talking about what Joe's going to do to go after a cold list to get listings. I mean, you need to have a list of homeowners, and you could use Remine, which might be in your MLS. RealQuest might be in your MLS. PropStream is available to anyone. I'm going to pull that up right now. Here we go. So, what zip code do you think has people where they're going to be selling their house?
In Vegas,
Hmm.
go 89131.
Okay, so there's 17,210 properties there. But if I just drill it down to single family, there's 16,239 properties there. Let me ask you this. How long does someone typically live in their home before they sell it?
I had always heard 3 years was the average.
I would ask the title company and see if they can run that.
See
That'd be a
what's
good,
actually happening
yeah,
today.
that'd
Now,
be a good number to
you
know.
have to, what I'd want to know is how is the average being affected by low interest rate, high interest rate market? Like
Oh yeah, because
historically,
people are
though,
forced to sell after they bought 2 years ago.
well, or they're just never selling because, like, I own a property in Las Vegas and a property in Parowan, Utah. I'm
Mhm.
never selling either one because the debt is almost more valuable than the asset. Like, I've got a 3% mortgage on
Yeah,
my
right.
house.
Yeah.
So I'm like, when it comes time to buy another house, I'm just going to rent it out because my payment's $3,000 a month and I can rent it out for 5,500. And so, like, I wonder what that's going to do to stuff. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic.
Well, a couple of things is like, so there's 16,000 single family homes in that area. We
Mm-hmm.
probably don't want to call, text, email, whatever, all of them,
Sure. Or
but
even mail. Yeah.
or even mail, but you can drill this down to like out of state tired landlords, old expireds, people that are going through a divorce, a bankruptcy, pre foreclosure, the property is vacant. So, for example, just in that zip code, there's 156 vacant properties. That's probably a good cash offer list,
Right.
right? Or just in that zip code, absentee owners, there's 1,000 that have tenants, right?
Yep.
Or just in that zip code, we have 2 people going through a bankruptcy or divorce, or just old expireds in that zip code, we have 751, right?
Yep.
So we could take all those, and what do you want to do? There they are. Here's all these single family homes in a zip code. Here's all the distressed properties. You can also go to other companies, as I'm sure you know, that can also maybe like through consumer behavior data, predict life changes and when they want to move. But you would just basically drill that list down from 16,000 to something a little more manageable, a little more likely to sell. What message do you want to put in front of them and how are you going to do it?
You know what I find interesting is if you look at Las Vegas, we are an entire ecosystem based on math. Like, what is our domestic product? Like, what is our
Gambling.
how do we yeah, how do we create income? It's all gambling.
Yeah.
And like what does the gambling metric say? Well, a slot machine pays out somewhere in the range of like 97 to 99% of the money it brings in. So like the state regulates this and says you can't have a slot machine that pays out 50% of the money it brings in. Like there's just no way. So there's guidelines around this where you have the slot machine has to issue a certain percentage of the money it brings in. It's just a math equation. Like you look at a roulette wheel and there's 35 numbers plus 2 greens or whatever, right? So there's or 36 plus 2. So there's like 1 in 38 chance that you're going to hit on your number. There's like a 48% chance it's going to land on black. And then 48% chance it's going to land on red and like a 4% chance it's going to land on green. Anyways, I bring that up just because our entire ecosystem is based on math, but real estate agents don't want to work on math.
Oh, there's a lot of math in that zip code. I'm going to pull some up. I know where you're going with this.
And so it's like, what if you just run the math? And you and I were talking about this before we went live. It's just a math equation. It's like with my Facebook stuff, I know I can get a 5 to 10x return on my investment, even if the agent working the leads are not that great, even if they just put in the work.
Dude, Joe,
Well,
look
what
at all look
happens?
at all the properties moving in that zip code. These are
Yeah,
all the home sales every single month in that zip code. And the average price, if you took 6% of that, that's how much commission money is probably moving. Dude, someone
right.
sold an expensive home in July. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a pretty good
Average
shot.
sales price of 8.3. There's no way that's accurate.
Yeah, I'd figure out what that was. Well, here, let's find out.
There must have been a piece of land that sold for like $200 million or something.
Well, give it to me. Let's find out. Oh, here we go. Yeah, 26 million.
26.
Hold
Yeah.
on. What is it? What's the
It's
26?
probably like the Gone family's ranch or something like that. It's going to be a horse ranch in Gilcrease for sure.
It must be a typo.
It's a typo 100%. The thing's 1,900 square feet on a quarter acre lot.
But yeah, that
I
was
was going
kind
to
of,
say,
I want to show the audience that is that prop stream is how I figure how many single family homes there are.
right.
And I could drill it down. And there's lots of
Yeah.
data sources you can use for using that. And then Melissa Data has a really cool tool where you can type in any zip code and it
Yeah.
will tell you the number of homes that sold every month in that zip code and which ones.
Yeah.
So if I were to add up the total number of sales in that zip code over the past 12 months, then divide it by how many single families there are, you'll have your turnover rate, which typically should be like 4 or 5%. And the higher the turnover rate, the more the odds are in your favor, Joe, that you have a better casino payout.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
But what I really like about math, Frank, is if you're running a business model that requires 75% conversion in order to succeed, like that's really tough math. But what if you move into a world, and you know these numbers better than I do, what if you move into a world where 1% allows you to create massive wealth and income? Like that's what I geek out on, is like, what
What do
if
you mean? What?
so let's say I send 1,000 pieces of mail
Okay.
and I get a 1% contact
Yeah.
rate,
10%
meaning
people, 10 people call.
10 people call.
Mhm.
And what if from those 10 people, the math bears out that I'm going to list one of them?
Yeah.
Then those 1,000 pieces of mail that I get a 1% contact rate and a 10% conversion rate of the 1% contact rate, I'm literally running the math of going, you are going to fail 99.9% of the letters you send are going to absolutely bomb, and you're going to get a 10x return on your investment. That's crazy, right? Or a 3x or a 4x.
Because the leads, if you do direct mail, are very bottom of the funnel. I'm going to share an email that I'm sure it's okay to share. I just sent
Yep.
this today. Here's somebody who did the exact same thing you're going to be doing. Stacy, how are the results from your letter company? This is 11 hours ago. We got 10 calls. Now, if I were to tell you you got 10 calls before I show this, you'd be like, well, that's not enough. That's not enough
Yeah.
leads. Well,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
hang on. We had 8 meaningful conversations, 1 listing agreement, and 3 potentials when we were sending another one, right? Because the marketing did a lot of the sorting and the heavy lifting for you. We really dealt with the really quality bottom of the funnel stuff, which doesn't really need to have like, the 18-month nurture process of 3 ISAs, you know?
Well, why are we comfortable with this in every other avenue? So let's say this: I've been happily married for 21 years. Let's say I'm no longer happily married and I need to find companionship. And I joined a dating app where my profile, which would be dialed, right? Like I'd be the most interesting man in the world. Let's say I just get 10 people that reach out to me from it. What's my definition of success? It's not if 10,000 women see this, I need 9,000 women to reach out to me. If 10,000 women see this, I'm just looking for a date or two. Right?
Joe, what a great
and
metaphor.
Therein lies my success. So then why as real estate agents are we obsessed with, if I'm going to talk to somebody and it doesn't turn into a deal, it's been a failure? To your point, what if you send out a piece of paper to 1,000 somebodies and 10 of them go like, hey, I'd love to have a conversation. And of that, you pick up 1 listing and 3 potential appointments. Like that's a massive success in the numerical massive failure. That's what I love about it.
So, so we're begging this question of all these theories. You're going to mail them, right? So you want to use mail.
Yeah.
That's your method of getting the message in front of these homeowners in that zip code or other zip codes.
Because I mean, if you look at Gary Vaynerchuk, he talks about how direct mail is like highly undervalued asset right now. Everybody's paying for Instagram ads, everybody's paying for Facebook ads, everybody's paying, radio commercials. Direct mail is a very undervalued advertising mechanism right now.
So we talked about this before. You're going to start sending personal letters
Mm-hmm.
to as many homeowners as you can afford. basically saying you really have three messages you can pick from that work, Joe. I'll give you the three. The first message, which I recommend, is, hey, are you thinking of selling your house? I have a buyer for you, a sincere buyer. Please give me a call and I can tell you what they can pay you. That's the gist. That's the first
Right.
message. You actually need to have a buyer, which is another discussion. Second, hey, home prices are all over the place. Would you like to actually know what your home is worth? I know what it is. Call me. I can tell you what your home is worth. That's the second one. The third one is, hey, if you're thinking of selling your home, want to know all your options because you're probably being assaulted by investors and real estate agents and Lord knows who else about your property, come to my seller workshop. I'd like to give you a free ticket to my workshop, whether it's online or in person. And I'll teach you all of the options and explain all your options, how to sell your home, as well as, how to sell your home for more money and avoid pitfall mistakes, et cetera, et cetera. Which of those three messages do you want to run in your letters? Gotta pick
I
one.
mean, yeah, it's ideally it'd be whichever one is proven out in other
I have a
areas
buyer.
yeah, I have a
Yeah.
buyer is probably working out the best. Now, to your point, you probably actually have to have a buyer. If you're in our world, the good news is we have 100,000 of them.
Yeah.
Our
Well, you have a
database
bunch in
is
your database.
100,000
Yeah.
people deep, right?
Yeah.
Now, I love scenarios where the worst case becomes a great option. So early on in our real estate world, Taylor and I went to coaching from this Canadian guy who's a freaking wizard by the name of Craig Proctor. I don't know if you've ever
Oh,
seen
yeah.
Craig Proctor stuff. He's
He's a Dan
basically the
Kennedy guy.
godfather. Yeah. He's basically the godfather of, if, like, we will list your home, and if it
I
doesn't
coached with
sell,
his
we'll buy it
coach.
ourselves. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it's just Craig does what everyone could do, but he just says it in a way no one else is willing to say it. So if you look at the billboard, like, I'll sell your home in 30 days or I'll buy it myself, agents are so uncomfortable with that because they're like, well, I can't even afford my car payment. How am I going to buy their house? Well, the worst case scenario is the best case scenario, which is Craig will buy your house at like 70% of market value. What did Craig learn? Most houses he never ends up buying. And a lot of sellers would prefer to just keep their home on the market for 31 days rather than sell it for 70%. But the good news is he got the listing.
Yeah.
And so if you run I have a buyer and you don't yet have a buyer, the worst case scenario is somebody reaches out to you and says, hey, I'm curious, like, how much would your buyer pay for my house? If you don't have a buyer, you have a Facebook page. If you don't have a buyer, you have an Instagram account. And in absence of either one of those, if you don't have a buyer, you have people you can text to say, like, hey, I just had a seller reach out to me. He's willing to take a look at offers on his property. It's 2,300 square feet on a tenth of an acre. I think it's probably worth 400,000. Who do you know that's interested? Right? Like, that's the worst case scenario. So I think it's a great message in today's market.
I'll go through the audience really quick, Joe. Thank you. On just, okay, so you are going to send cold letters to likely to sell homeowners in targeted zip codes in Vegas for your next step
Mm-hmm.
of your marketing plan. There will be personal letters that you have a buyer. Someone's going to call you and say, what's this buyer you have for my house? How much are they willing to pay you? And you say, yes, I have several. I
Mm-hmm.
have active investors in Las Vegas that I have relationships with looking to buy there. I have my VIP buyer list of families, right?
Right.
You don't really give too much because of uh, fair housing stuff, but just have been pre-vetted and want to live in the zip code and, have assigned buyers, agency agreement, and proof of funds ready to go. I also have relationships with institutions. By the way, Joe, go check out easystreetoffers.com. They have a whole bunch of institutions looking to buy in Vegas there. We actually talked about the mastermind. So you can submit it to easystreetoffers.com. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They split the commission 3 and 3. But in order for me to get an accurate price for your home for my buyers, because I can tell they'll probably pay what I see on Zillow, when can I come and see it? I need to get some pictures, need a little property inspection, you know, get some research on the property so I can give it to my buyers and they can write some offers so I can get you the highest price. When's a good time for me to come meet you? Boom. Go out
Yeah.
there, get some photos, get some video, do a little property inspection, submit it to like an easystreetoffers.com, submit it to Open Door, OfferPad, your local buyers, your VIP buyer list, get some offers, hopefully. They probably won't be as high as a traditional listing, But you also run a CMA of what they could get if they traditional listed. And then on the second appointment, you go over all their options with them and you help them decide what's best.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, because again, you're playing the math equation. 80% of homeowners list with the first agent that they meet. So
Yes.
again,
Yeah, you want to get upstream of everyone else.
You're just creating the conversation, right? Like people would say, well, like I want to send a piece of paper that they just sign and they're automatically listed with me. Unfortunately, that's not the world in which we live in. We live in a world where you're paying to create conversations. Then you have to do your job, right? You have to be intelligent enough to just say, like, let me do this. Let me get some information. Let me come take a look at the property, take a few pictures, send it to our buyer list and our investor list. You know, like, and we're gonna come back in a day or two with a couple of offers for you. I mean, what's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is you've established a relationship with somebody who's not yet really ready, willing, or able to list their home. That's the worst case scenario. And that's a great worst case. The best case scenario is you list their property and you know, make 3%. I would argue the best case scenario is you buy it yourself, because Taylor and I are really good at that. But for us, we're just paying to create the conversation.
So let's price out that zip code. Let's say that you pick 10,000 homes. Let's give you a really good opportunity to get 100 inbound calls, a 1% response rate. Okay.
Yep.
We're going to do 10,000 letters. Let's put on some nice paper. Let's do color on the front, blank on the back. Let's make sure we mail merge their name and the property address and how many listings there are in the zip code. We're going to use a regular white envelope. And postage, we're going to do first class real stamp on the envelope. Just type the address and return address. And
how much does it add to handwrite the address? Have you seen that it makes any difference?
No. It's a little bit more, but it's not necessary.
Still a math equation, right?
Yeah, I like to put on the envelope like 14 or 16 point Times New Roman font that looks really personal with a real stamp. And then we'll order 10,000 to get the printing discounts, but they'll drop 2,500 a week and they'll stagger it out at 2,500 a week. So you're in $8,400. So 100 people calling you to inquire about selling their home, which would be a 1% response rate where 99% threw it away.
Right? And is that what you're seeing on average is 1%?
Typically, I mean, generally speaking, this is anecdotally just in my own experience, is the more affluent, the more educated of the market, the lower the response rate from direct mail. In the other direction, the higher response rate. Not just for what it's worth. Like if I were to mail Beverly Hills, very hard. I did a person. This is just something personally I do. We don't do this for you at Vyral, but I just do this personally by referral. I wrote some sales copy and did a letter in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, 3.5% response rate.
Wow.
Blew up.
Yeah.
Got it. So, yeah, so you're looking about $8,500. That's with the 10,000. Well, how much are you willing to spend to get a listing? Probably a couple $1,000. So if you get a couple listings off of that and you're handing the appointments in that case to your agent, you can probably charge a little more on the split or charge a referral fee. Those numbers work. At scale, when you do more, you can mail standard rate, which we don't have the time to go into. It's still a real stamp.
Yeah.
That'll get it down from 8,400 to 6,000. So it'd be $6,000 to mail 10,000, which 2 or 3 listings out of that, you're usually happy as a clam. If you're probably paying the agent at the end of the day 20% of the commission because you tee them up with a bottom of the funnel seller. How's that?
It's amazing. It's math.
Is that your plan? Yeah, it is.
Math is undefeated.
And, it's funny. I know a lot about direct mail personally, not something that Vyral really does, which we're going to do next. But it is a game of statistics. It is very, very nuanced discussions about frequency and reach. How often did you hit the list and how many times they see you? What's the offer? It's really direct response advertising. I'll show one more on these letters that you're going to do. So this is what you want to do, Joe?
100%.
This is the
Yep.
plan? Okay. So I'll show
Yep.
you one more. So for what it's worth, I'm going to help Joe without this personally. Vyral does not, for anyone watching this or customers of Vyral does not do this. I personally do it. So don't ask Vyral. But there were 10,000 dropped last month in Seattle, which is a more affluent market. All right.
Mm-hmm.
In the areas. And the numbers are called through like a trackable number, Joe. I'm going to pull up the last 30 days. Or let's do year to date. Give me just 1 second. This year for Seattle. Okay, so this is for 10,000 letters, 128 calls. And you'll notice the calls come in immediately. There's on this long-term farming nurture stuff. So 128 phone calls, and they're all recorded that you can follow up with all the leads calling about the home sale.
Now explain so if you're sending it to Seattle, the numbers, the calls coming in from people outside the market, is that absentee owners?
Well, not anymore. It's just the area code on the cell number. It's like my cell number is still
People keep their
Omaha.
phone.
Yeah, like it'll still show
That
up as
makes sense.
Omaha, Nebraska. But I lived in San Diego for 10 years. Now I live in Nashville.
Sure.
It's just
Yeah.
when it says the area, it's completely useless. It's just where the phone
Okay.
number is tied to.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense.
But it is
I love it.
important when you do mail that you put the mailing address on the envelope, not the property address. Because for a lot of people, the mailing address is different than the property address.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure the mailing address, but I digress. So Joe, I went to Dan Kennedy's Mailbox Millions. This was the coach for Craig Proctor.
Yeah.
And I spent a fortune learning everything you could possibly want to know about statistics and direct mail.
Yeah.
And we're going to take everything in here and apply the principles in here, working with you personally to get the phone to ring in Vegas. How's that sound?
Love it.
All
We're
right.
in.
So you have your three-pronged approach. You're going to continue to crush Facebook ads for buyers, which you're going to be teaching a course to teach anyone here if they wanted to go do their own Facebook ads, marketing properties.
Right.
You're going to add another pillar, making sure you have your economics in place to send letters saying you have a buyer to homeowners and likely to sell zip codes of Vegas to get cold seller leads calling you.
Right.
The third thing that we talked about to change your marketing strategy was you got to start working that existing house database more.
Right.
And when I asked you what you were doing, it wasn't much. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
I'll be
not a
honest,
lot right now.
right?
No, there's not. We have 100,000 people in our database. We're
That's
not doing
insane.
enough for sure. Yeah.
Seriously?
I think the 100,000, I think we have something like 20,000 addresses in there.
Joe. Nothing?
Blunt force trauma.
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
publicly shame you on this webinar.
Yeah, we circle prospect and stuff, but yeah, it's just not enough for sure.
Well, let's go through the Vyral Plan, shall we?
Yep.
Let's just go through the Vyral Plan, whether you hire us or you go do it on your own, but here's what I want you to do. And this would make sense in anyone in Joe's situation, whether you have 100 or 100,000, is Joe, pull out your cell phone.
Got it.
Go to the App Store, and I want you to type in export contacts by Covey, Covvee. So Covey, Covvee, Covee. Yeah, Covve, sorry. But it's export contacts. So Covve export. Let me find it. There it is. Found it. This one.
Okay.
Download that. And then tell me how many contacts you have in your cell phone. I have 1,856. If my camera can focus. I need you to export all those into a spreadsheet and have all your partners do it too. Sound good?
Yep.
Because there's money sitting in here. There's money in this list. All right. Did you install it?
I'm doing it right now. It's $3.99.
Oh,
so I had to take out a line of credit.
Yeah. So figure that out. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to log into your Gmail or your Outlook, and you're going to export everything in your address book.
I have 3,051 contacts.
Good. There's money in that list.
Right. How many do you have?
1,856.
Okay, I'm twice as popular as Frank.
Yeah. So export that. Then I want you to go
And
grab
export it to a
just a CSV, just a
okay.
spreadsheet on your desktop.
Yep,
Then do you use Gmail?
I do. Yep.
Okay. Log into your Gmail. Actually go to contacts.google.com. I think that's it. Contacts.google.com. That's basically your address book. Yep, here it is. Okay. So
Okay.
I'll show this one to you. So it'll look something like this.
Yep.
Right. Then on the left-hand side, you'll see other contacts. I want you to click other contacts.
Okay.
And then just select the very first contact in the list.
Okay.
And then click this little down button here and click all. And then tell me how
Okay.
many show up. I have
Three.
16,000.
Yeah, you got me beat there. 3,371.
Okay. Export it. Just click over these three dots and click export.
Yep.
Okay. Then we
Both
have
contacts and selected contacts.
everything
Okay.
all. Then you have your CRM or CRMs. I want you to go in and export all of those, but please leave out anyone that's bounced or unsubscribed. If it
Okay.
allows you to suppress those in the exports, all the better. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what we're going to do, or you can do it, is there's a service called Never Bounce, which will remove all the bad emails. So I have an enterprise account with these guys. So Vyral does this as a part of your build process, or you can go do it. But essentially, you're going to take those lists and upload them to Never Bounce, and then download the clean list where all the invalid, bad, bounced emails are removed.
Which is important, right? Because if you're emailing to a complete list, you're going to get which we've done that before with MailChimp. We've gotten shut down so many times with MailChimp.
Okay. Then you would sign up for an email marketing account, MailChimp, Constant Contact, whatever. What we use at Vyral is My Emma. So Joe, as a customer, I'll just give you a My Emma account.
Love it.
So this is what you're going to get. You're going to get the My Emma Essentials as a part of your fee. But we're going to have to talk about your contact limit. we'll have a side discussion on that, my friend.
Yeah.
But you're going to take those clean lists that have been scrubbed and just upload them all to your email account, which will then automatically deduplicate by email. So now you have in an email account a fully scrubbed, deduplicated list of everyone that you've ever communicated with your entire life. How's that?
Love
in
it.
addition to that, I want you to upload it to Facebook and make it a retargeting audience. You know how to do that.
Right.
Okay. So now we're going to put them on a 36 touch plan. There's a point of diminishing marginal returns of doing this, and you can go off the deep end of hiring a video guy to follow you around the whole city. Okay. Let's not do that. Let's just find where we get the most bang for our buck. And I think I kind of know where that stands. I'm going to recommend 2 helpful educational videos a month and 1 lead generation email a month. That's going to be your plan. So once a month, I want you to record answers to 2 of the most commonly questions people are asking about real estate. So let me ask you this. What's the number 1 question you're getting all the time by people that want to talk about real estate?
I mean, usually a generic form of like, how's the market? Like, interest rates, stuff like that.
Maybe what's the direction of Las Vegas home prices with 7% mortgage rates?
Yeah. How are interest rates affecting home values type stuff?
Send that out. That's what the audience wants.
Yeah.
So we're just going to come up with a bunch of questions, and you can use AI and Chat GPT and all the cool stuff to figure out, what are the best headlines and topics people want to see, and they'll even write the script for you.
Yeah, and here's a good one too, and I'm sure you use this. Is you can just go into Google and put in like, I see Gail Phillips is here, like Central California real estate market, and Google will tell you customers also search for like I can't even remember what it
Yeah.
calls it, but
Our real estate prices in California
right.
dropping.
So
What is
Google
the how?
shows
Yeah,
you.
there you go. There's your topics for videos.
Yep. Is 2023 a good time to buy a house in Central California? Right. It's
And,
like
you, and it even
super easy.
even gives you the answers.
Right. And now
Here's all your questions.
you could put into Chat GPT. You could say, why is buying a home in Central California a good idea in 2023? Give me 3 points, and it'll give you the 3 reasons why.
Yeah.
Or why is it a bad idea? And it'll give you the 3 reasons why. Chat GPT doesn't think; it just executes.
So there you go. There's all your topics, Joe. Something
Yeah.
like that. Got it.
And this
And
is,
then
by the way, this is what viral marketing does.
yeah,
So the direct mail stuff is not your core product at viral marketing, but this is what viral does.
I personally run cold letter campaigns for people, um, just directly by referral because they're very expensive
Right.
if you want to do it at scale.
Yeah.
But anyone can hire viral. It's very affordable. And what I'm really proud of, this is my company, is there's a 90-day money back guarantee. So if you don't get business from this database marketing plan I'm showing with Joe, in 90 days, just call me. I'll refund all your money so you can go put it where it will produce. And we're
Yeah.
pretty darn confident in that. So 2 videos a month, you're going to answer commonly asked questions and go on YouTube and get emailed out, going to get retargeted. And then every month, in addition to your 2 videos, I want another message going out, which is a lead generation message.
Yeah.
There's no video with this. It's just, hey, do you want to know what your home is worth? Click here, find out. Hey, do you want a cash
Well,
offer on your home? Go ahead.
yeah, let me just point this out. If you have a phone, you have a videographer. Like
Oh, yeah.
I do have a professional videographer, but what stops people so much is they're like, well, I don't have anybody to shoot. If you have a phone and a finger, you have somebody to shoot. And then one other recommendation I would make, there's an app called Captions, and it will do everything for you. It'll add in the captions, it'll trim your video down, it'll delete the empty airspace, it'll let you chop from beginning to end, and you probably have some other ideas as well, but like don't let the absence of having somebody like a YouTube content creator stop you from making video. It's
You don't
so
need it.
easy.
So what we use at Viral Joe is this product called Riverside.
Yeah.
So you download the Riverside app on your phone,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically Zoom, but it records the footage right to your hard drive, so it's lossless, and then it sends it to us
Yeah.
for editing.
Yeah.
So you just schedule a time to hop on Riverside with a director or partner, us, Viral,
Sure.
anyone,
Yep.
and you just record your videos, and you just do it right from your phone. So we used to actually at Viral ship clients webcams and mics and everything, and then it just wasn't necessary. It didn't even look that good.
You
And
don't need it anymore.
everyone
Yeah.
just started just using their phone. So all we would do now is we just send them a tripod, and we come in on Riverside, and you shoot your video right on your phone. You're done. That's great.
Yep.
So yeah, I think just from a video quality, and it's actually really cool, Joe. Check out Continuity Camera with the webcam. You can actually use your iPhone as a webcam.
Yeah.
If I can actually mount this on my laptop. I wish I had well, maybe I can do it right now. Hang on, let's find out. Wait a minute.
Well, so
I
and
can.
Apple just
Wait,
launched app.
that's me. So I'm on my iPhone now.
Yep.
Do I look different?
You look, yeah, looks good. Apple just
You can see
launched
all
a
my
product
wrinkles.
as well. Apple just launched Stage Manager, which allows you to do the same if you have an Apple product. If you don't have an Apple product, I don't know what to say. Just go get an Apple product. But yeah.
So look here. So here's the idea: is that we're going to take all those emails and you're going to start publishing videos out to them, on YouTube, discoverable, emailing them out, posting on social media, doing the retargeting, sending out offers for immediate response that drive to landing pages. So ultimately, you get people opting in to a landing page for an offer that you can call, and you get people clicking the links that are actually engaging in with content about buying or selling a house.
Yeah.
And you're going to follow up with those people. All right. And then at your level, you can zero cost the whole thing by maybe involving an advertiser in on that probably wants to be in front of your audience. That's just a whole other discussion. So I think the viral thing can really pay for itself, especially if you get an advertiser involved. So that's pretty much the plan of constant
So Kate
publishing.
asked, Frank, does ITI Direct Mail .net in Canada, or is there a Canadian equivalent?
Yeah, there is. So you'll want to go to the Canadian Post, and they have the
Justin
data.
Trudeau, JustinTrudeau.com or whatever, and he'll figure it out
Well,
for
I
you.
flew up there actually. I was just in Toronto. I had a client ask me the same question, and I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So the privacy laws are very different in Canada. So like PropStream and like us pulling all this personally identifiable
Yeah, Zillow
information
doesn't even exist in Canada.
ain't
It's
gonna
like the
happen
greatest
up
place
there.
on earth.
Yeah. So the way that it
Yeah.
works is the Canadian Post has all the property data, and they've created relationships with data companies. And if you call the data, you call the post office, they have incredible lists. They have
Yeah.
likely to sell lists. The post office up there, Canadian Post, will sell you a list of all the homeowners that would be likely to sell their home, all the lists, but they won't actually give you the data. What they do is they send it confidentially to the mail house.
Yep.
They don't actually have a spreadsheet. So the mail house that we work with up there is one-to-one mailing, I think. One-to-one mailing in Canada. Yeah, one-to-one mailing.ca. There they are. So one-to-one mailing, the Canadian Post will send the data to them and then they'll mail it. So that's how it works. You actually won't
Love it.
get the spreadsheet. So everything that we discussed here is possible to do in Canada. It's just a little bit of a workaround where you cannot get your fans physically on the consumer contact information spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're a
So
wizard. Appreciate it. Excited for this. It's gonna be awesome.
yeah, so what else you want to share with the audience? So look, the promise today was how is Joe changing his marketing plan? You're going to continue to hopefully work trade up buyers
Yep.
and get quality leads from Facebook. You're going to start mailing personal letters saying you have a buyer to homeowners that are a little bit more likely to sell than just, you know, blasting them all. We're going to draw it down,
Yep.
understanding that finding somebody who wants to sell their home now is kind of a needle in the haystack. So short of there's no perfect mailing list or really perfect letter. It's just finding someone that has motivation. One of the things I want you to keep in mind with you direct mail, Joe, is marketing does not create motivation. It just finds it.
Yeah, just manifest it.
Well, it's so like it's not like you're going to create this amazing mail piece or really any marketing that's like, oh, going to convince someone to sell their house. No,
Sure. Yep.
you just have to get it in front of someone at the right time. So it's more of a numbers game where
Which
it
should
just
make everybody
matches.
feel more comfortable. Like
Yes.
you don't have to talk people into anything. What you want to do is you want to find the people who've already talked themselves into it.
Yeah,
And
you're
direct mail
supplying
just
demand.
does that.
Like you just need to
Right.
find the demand and the need. And
Right.
it is kind of a needle in the haystack to find somebody who wants to sell in the next 60 to 90 days. So you're gonna have to mail a lot of letters. That's I always want
You
you
got to
to,
hit the haystack. Yeah.
yeah, you have to go to a lot of
And what
hay.
direct mail does, I would um, submit, and we could probably end on this. What direct mail does is it sets a haystack on fire. Like, how do you find the nail in the hay or the needle in the haystack? Needles don't burn, hay does. And so you just you just send it out there and then let the needles manifest themselves. Like, rather than sifting through calling thousands of people, you literally let the needles raise themselves to the top, and you set the whole thing
Mhm.
on fire. And direct mail does that for you, and then you just start talking to needles. It's great.
And then last but not least is you're gonna put the viral plan in place of rounding up all those emails and contacts, and you're gonna start publishing content to the point of diminishing returns. Now, one of the questions I get all
Right.
the time, probably from you, Joe, is what about my reels and shorts? So we can either edit them directly and like pull a short or a reel out of it. But there's a really cool tool that's only getting better and better called Opus. Have you heard of Opus Clip?
No. Mm-mm.
Dude, check this out. You can take
Dude,
any
Frank is like
YouTube.
a library of great technology.
Well, you could take any. It's this is Chat GPT's product. You can take any YouTube video and it'll literally create all the clips for you automatically.
What?
So if you
Gotta
want to
hop on
start
this right now.
posting clips, you can grab any YouTube video on YouTube, just paste it in there, and it actually gives you a virality score, and it edits it together with all the captions. It's pretty idiot
Dang.
proof.
I'm gonna go nuts on this thing today.
Yeah, because I mean, you can sit there and like pay the money to like pay an editor to like get it just right.
Yeah.
Then you start getting the bill and you're like, Opus, you can we just take we're kind of playing with both because it's still AI, it's
Sure.
still not perfect, okay,
Yeah. Whatever.
but it's cheap and it can put together some good clips for you, especially when you record your YouTube videos. You have good chapters and there's good
Right.
transitions of like key points. where it's not a jumbled mess. It does a
Right.
pretty good job of pulling a good clip that if you want to use it for reels or shorts or whatnot, is using
Well, in
Opus.
quantity actually, when it comes to this stuff, quantity does beat quality. You want quality, but you can't determine quality because the market determines quality for you.
You just
So
want to
the
keep
only way
putting
to
out the
find
shorts and
quality is
let the algorithm find it. Yeah.
quantity. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Frank.
So let's
Appreciate you,
wrap it
man.
up. So Joe, thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. We'll have a replay out to you shortly. My name is Frank Klesitz with Vyral Marketing, VYRAL.com. You can Google us and check us out. 90-day money back guarantee if you want to trust us with your money to help you work your database. That's what Joe's going to be doing. Joe,
100%.
what's your contact information for any referrals really quickly?
At Joe Herrera, DM me if you want info on our Declaration of Independence lead gen program. Do it yourself. Stop paying Zillow. Stop paying. It works in Canada. Doityourself.com is what I should. It's probably has like
That's
a
good.
naughty connotation to it. Yeah. But at Joe Herrera on Instagram.
Cool. I hope you guys
All
found
right.
the webinar today helpful. See everybody. Take care.
Thanks, buddy.